Surabhi Tomar and Rashmini Koparkar, thank you so much for talking to ANI. Really appreciate your time. Firstly, if you could just introduce yourself and how long have you been studying at the Harvard University and what are your fields of study?
Thank you. Namaskar. I'm
Starting with
Surabhi Tomar. I'm a fellow in the Edward S. Mason program at the Harvard Kennedy School, and I'm pursuing a mid-career master's in public administration. And I've been studying here since the summer of 2024.
Namaskar. My name is Rashmini Koparkar. I am basically an assistant professor at Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. My field of study is international relations, and I'm currently here as a visiting scholar working on my research on Central Asia. And I have been here since the summer of last year, 2024.
Great. Thank you both. Now, let's just take you back to the day when this event was held at the university. What specific connection did you make between the recent terror attack in Pahalgam and Harvard's Pakistani officials being there on campus? Surabhi?
The attack in Pahalgam, and it was a very horrible attack, was a targeted religion-based massacre. When Harvard invites officials, especially officials who have ideologically justified such acts, it risks legitimizing the state-backed terror narratives on our campus. This is the reason why we thought that we should take some action or ask people to take some action.
Surabhi, can you just give a brief background of what really happened and what this event was?
The event in question was the Pahalgam attack. Indian students in Harvard were very concerned about what happened, and we had been collecting a lot of support from fellow students. Around 65 countries, students had represented us in certain things that we had done in the campus, which is where a lot of concern was raised about why certain people are being invited on campus to speak and giving them a platform when they should not be given such a platform to speak and legitimize their voice.
Now, when you say certain people, who was the Pakistani official who was on campus, and was it a pre-planned event, or did it happen? It was just coincidence that it happened at the same time.
It was a pre-planned event and it was a coincidence. However, even given the coincidence, we do not think that it is correct for anyone, especially a university like Harvard, to legitimize such voices, especially when they in their country are trying to justify such acts and not outrightly condemning them, or not, and they are not even condemning them on global platforms.
So, as a student, you decided to take things in your hand, and you were prompted to write a letter to the Harvard leadership and Secretary Rubio. Did you consult anyone before doing so, and what really prompted you to do so?
As students committed to human dignity, we shouldn't stay silent after a faith-based killing. That is our belief. We consulted peers. As I said before, there was a lot of support for us given from students from 65 countries. We read the testimonies of survivors, and we acted on a shared moral obligation to speak out.
Okay. Now, what were your key points? Can you underscore what you emphasized in your letter to Secretary Rubio and the Harvard leadership?
We emphasized that this was not random violence. it was religious persecution. There is a difference between random violence that takes place between people and faith based or religious based persecution. We urged Harvard to stand against Hinduphobia and asked the US, the Honorable Secretary of State Marco Rubio, to deny visas to officials who support terror linked ideologies.
Now, Rashmini, coming to you, when you decided to do so, were there any concerns at your end? Were you worried about, what the consequences would be, considering you're an international student on campus, and why get into that controversy?
Uh, oh, at personal level, I did not have any hesitation because this is something I was deeply disturbed by, and this is something which concerns our nation, our community, and also the Indian students at Harvard are deeply disturbed, and they're also worried about their friends and family members who have or had plans to visit Kashmir. But uh, at the community level, if you talk about the Indian students in general, we experienced certain pressure or certain stress while talking about this event. They were coming to us, we had set up a table, they were giving their support, but some of them were requesting for anonymity, and they were really not comfortable about taking this issue at the public level. And there is a deeper concern that has been troubling and that has been concerning all of us, is the selective mourning or the actual apathy towards what has happened, and selection of events to condemn and selection of events to not condemn according to your own political comfort and discomfort was something that we were disturbed by, because Indian lives, Hindu lives also matter. So, if you are talking in general about human dignity and global justice, then you should also stand for Hindu lives that were killed. So, we were disturbed, and there was general apathy in the community. Yeah.
Right. When you say that you were disturbed with the political stance that that was taken, who are you referring to? Are you referring to the organizers of this event, or are you talking about Harvard as a university?
It's actually, it relates to everyone from top to bottom. I'm not taking any name, or we are not here to condemn the organizers or anything. But what was missing was the sensitivity towards what has happened. People were killed. It was a terrorist attack, a faith based attack, targeted killings, and the outcry that we experience at this campus for various other events that happen around the globe was something that was missing during this particular event. And when I say this, I say this about from top to bottom, everyone. There could have been a more sensitivity and accountability at the level of the leadership of Harvard University in general and the organizers of this particular conference, which happened within 5 days of the attack. So the accountability was missing at all levels.
Right. Now, in your view, Rashmini, what should have Harvard really done differently regarding this event? Maybe a cancellation, or maybe a public, condemning the attack. What could they have done differently here?
Like I have already said, we were expecting a certain degree of sensitivity and acknowledgement of what has been happening. Uh, Obviously, the event was pre-planned, as already discussed. It was a coincidence that it took place within 5 days. but there could have been a better gesture. Like, first of all, they could have condemned the attacks, and secondly, the number of guests and the high-ranking officials that were arriving at this event were actually in question, because this is a state which has been harboring cross-border terrorism for years, and India has been suffering because of that. Hindu lives have been at stake, and at such level, when the whole world is standing united against terrorism and is backing India, supporting India, uh, the official, high-ranking official, a minister from Pakistani government, was something which disturbed many Indian students out here. So there could have been a rearrangement, maybe a postponement. If that was not possible, at least a sensitive gesture like condemnation could have been there. Yeah.
Right, right. Uh, Surabhi, coming to you, have you received any official response from the Harvard leadership or Secretary Rubio's office? Have any government officials gotten in touch with you or even responded to that letter?
As of now, we have not received an official response from the Honorable Secretary of State Marco Rubio's office. However, having said that, it should be noted that the entire American government's top officials have very strongly condemned the attacks. And they have made it clear that they are standing with India in this regard. The Harvard leadership has reached out to us, and we are in talks with them, and it will pan out over the next couple of weeks. And we are hopeful for a very good response from Harvard.
Great. Rashmini, what reactions are you receiving from fellow students and the broader Harvard community, including professors, alumni? What's the response like?
As already told, we had set up a table to for awareness about what has happened, and we received support and signatures from international students from as many as 65 countries. And we have also collected signatures and messages, condolence messages from them. So there was an international reaction in the campus, but at the same time, this was not the reaction that one would expect at the time of such incident, because as I have already discussed, there is a selective mourning and selective condolence. So maybe some events are more important or more politically convenient for the authorities and for the broader administration and other uh, uh, stakeholders. But there was lack of sensitivity and lack of accountability that we noticed.
Right. Did you, Rashmi, again, did you hear back from the organizers of the Pakistan conference, the students who organized that event? Was there any backlash from their end or support from the Pakistani student community, basically just condemning the attack?
Uh, I don't, at least I have not heard back from the organizers, or I don't know of any response that has come officially from them. Maybe Surbi, if, yeah, if she can join.
Nothing, nothing. We have not heard anything.
Okay.
So the
Rashmi,
point is,
have you experienced, go ahead.
so the point is this
Go ahead,
uh,
please.
terrorist attack, the faith-based targeted killing was not even that important to them to acknowledge. Like, for example, everything happened as it was planned, but the sensitivity and the response to what has happened was what was lacking.
Okay, let's just take the broader implication of the timing of this event. This was an event that was pre-planned. There were officials from the Pakistani government who were called in, and there was no condemnation of what happened in Pahalgam. Um, should the academic institutions like Harvard consider geopolitical tensions when they're hosting diplomatic events like this?
Uh, in my view, I teach international relations. So in my view, academic institutions, they don't operate in the vacuum. So there is a larger global context and larger geopolitical context to what happens. And if a particular state is not held accountable for the deeds it has been doing, and because of which innocent lives are at stake and are suffering. So I think this particular event and such ideology and their perpetrators should be held accountable. So we are definitely not saying that there should not be an academic freedom and there should not be a free organization of academic events. But in the scenario as such, uh, g- in the aftermath of such a horrific event, one should not be looking at the event like it was being looked at before. It's actually a very difficult subject. So
Right.
even to talk about it,
Surabhi?
I'm sorry, Reena.
Right. Surabhi, what principles? Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Surabhi, can you hear me? Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay. What principles do you think that universities, or what guidelines should universities really follow when they're on campus, according to you? And how do you balance free speech and academic freedom concerns with issues that you have raised?
We absolutely support free speech and academic freedom. Those are core to Harvard's identity. But inviting officials who have excused or enabled religiously motivated killings is not academic exchange at all. It's a moral compromise. And this is not about silencing views, it is about upholding values. Harvard must ensure its platforms don't legitimize state actors who justify terrorism, as has happened in this conference. We are asking for ethical accountability, not censorship, because standing for human dignity should never be negotiable.
Right. What outcomes do you see going forward, and what are you really hoping from your letters that you have sent to the Secretary of State at the Harvard? You said, at Harvard there could be results sometime soon. But what is the outcome that you're hoping for personally?
So there's a short one and a longer one. Uh, Firstly, we want Harvard to publicly condemn the attacks, support affected students, and ensure its platform doesn't whitewash regimes complicit in faith-based violence. And that's not political, that's humane. If we are to ask about the longer ask, then as written in the letter to Harvard, we would really request them to issue a public statement condemning the Pahalgam terror attack and affirming their support for the victims, especially based on religion-based violence. Secondly, we would request them to provide an emotional and institutional support for the affected students. And then there should be more of a panel discussions on religiously based violence on Hindus at future events. and of course also have professors to include the Pahalgam religious persecution case in their public policy, human rights, and conflict resolution courses.
Right. Now, Rashmini, on a personal note, has this experience changed how your view or your role as international students could be at an American institute?
Uh, Actually, not just American, any educational institute, it should be the place where they promote inclusivity and where all the international students feel that they are welcome and that they are taken care of and that they are flourishing. They are actually taking back a very enriching experience. Howard, in general, has always been a supporter of human dignity, global justice, equality, and all these various principles that they stand for. They have also taken a very strong stance against against various perpetrators of violence, as well as the ideologies like anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and they have stood by the communities that are affected by racism and other hatred. And in general, at Harvard, we feel all these things. But in this particular case, we are expecting Harvard University to have the same clarity and compassion towards the Hindu lives and Indian lives that have been lost. And therefore, we demand the clarity and sensitivity in this regard.
All right. Surabhi and Rashmi, thank you so much for talking to ANI. I really appreciate your insights.